Welcome guys back. My name is Senki from Xros. Today we talk about the new set coming. So we need a new meta tier list. What decks should be good, what decks are not good, and which decks will compete in the new season. But first, right, left, tap the thumbs up button for more awesome content, and subscribe and to getting grow. The last time we had a giveaway, the giveaway winner didn't respond, so we having, I hopefully it gets down, 3 BT8 boosters, 3 BT9 boosters, a special pack, sticky sleeves, and a Jasmine deck. What you need to do is like, subscribe, and tell me what is your next favorite EX03 card. If we hit the 2100 subscribers, the next video I will give all this away. Have fun on the video and watch it till the end. Okay, we are right now here at the meta tier list. A long video again. I hope you watch it all. I will pretty happy about it for the announcement what I did that I need stream time. But first we have an effective on 11th November, and in the Ultimate Cup we play with these rules, but not EX03. Calling is at 1, Starburst Buzz is at 1. Brigadramon is at 1, and my full Alda deck get restructured Shotmon at 1. So this all benefits on the tier list that you know I have that on mind. And we start. Mastermon don't getting much support at the next set. Calling at 1 is a restriction that they can play more, but they didn't play more. So there was a one-off in most of the decks, and the restriction was like, okay, maybe you hit more than Minerva than Mastermon, but you can calling it 2. But you can play other cards instead of it. Thema's Destruction is not strong enough in the meta, so you're having a lot of board and a lot of OTK potential. But you can clear a lot of threats on board, but not enough. As an expansion, then Jasmine and Bloomlordmon are pretty strong right now. This deck can keep on versus the decks, so you can still play it, but it's sadly tier 2. With the next set it's getting higher up, but right now it is stay as tier 2. Alphamon got a huge hit. You can play it now as an OUmon, Alphamon OTK version. You can do it, but I think it's lacking on power. Not just the lacking on getting much ability to get cards, because you have Cool Boy and all of your cards are X antibody, so you can search up all cards in your deck, what is pretty intense. And from 1 memory gaining into 5, going your opponent to 5, or you gaining back is pretty good, but you're only making 4 damage, and if you don't, lethal and blocker are more broken versus the deck in the early game. It has a lot of potential. I think it is tier 2, it is better than Mastermon, but no, I think not better, because Decrate can kills you, but you have still breath in your deck. But if you're playing an OTK version, you are more strictly to play and having not much room to fit on cards. If my boy Frozen play this deck, then it goes to 1.5, not anyone else, but it is as a tier 2. Beelzemon. Digimon have not gaining so much support, so nothing in the next set. They can't abuse something about it, and that's the reason why it's staying where it's staying. It get a structure deck, it get its time to shine, but maybe in the next set. Wargreymon. Wargreymon is pretty cool. Tamer Destruction, doing a lot of stuff, but it don't top so much. Wargreymon with Gaiomon didn't top even a single tournament, and it don't gain support. So the problem is that you are good versus all the Blue Flare, Dark Knightmon, Shoutmon decks. What is having a lot of Tamer on board that you can destroy it and then can swing over something like Mother D Reaper, what is good in the later sets on. Still you're lacking of memory, and when you play with Bloomlordmon you are pretty doomed, and that's the problem what the deck has. So it getting a lot of support in the next set, but maybe next set. I don't know why I have Gaiomon here, so this is the same deck, but that's the other thing. Blue Flare. Blue Flare is a deck that was pretty good in this set. It topped in Latin America divisionals. We have our Gen Con, but without Mulligan, what is intense because other decks getting good, other decks getting bad, so you can provide that. The deck getting a support card. We're getting Sudai. Sudai is trash the top 4 cards, evolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon until the end of your opponent's turn. Only if your opponent's Digimon with no evolution cards can attack. So you can do more stun plays even you draw your outs and stop the opponent like it was in Blue Hybrid. So you're having a good niche of one card that you can put out in your deck. But in the next set it's getting more support. I will say it is pretty strong as a tier 1.5 deck because you can do and stop your opponent. If your opponent are not strong enough, you can stun your opponent's board, getting advantage of that and swing. And still, I think this is the best Digicross deck right now. Since Hydramon doing a lot of stuff too, but it was good versus Shoutmon and stuff like that because it was the most potential deck. But it's getting nerfed and a lot of nerfed. Since I want now to talk because of Shoutmon, I tested with 1x4. You can substitute Shoutmon King in your deck and have room more, but Sunrise and X4, brother, maybe next set you will see play because then you're getting a lot of support and the 1x4 doesn't care because you play on the X7 route. Nothing more talked about exactly. I don't want to force it because my full shiny deck lying down here, I am pretty sad about. I'm sorry. I want to talk about a new card coming out, Chaosdramon. A card that all people want to see because it's Machinedramon support and Digivolve 1 from Machinedramon on play when Digivolving by placing up 3 or black level 5 cyborgs in the threads and different card numbers from your hand and trash under the Digimon and its bottom the evolution card. Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon for each card placed by this effect. All turns when the Digimon will be deleted or returned to your hand or deck, you might trash 2 level 5 cards in this Digimon evolution cards to prevent from leaving the play. This is pretty good. It is pretty nice support and you're getting a nice card as well since a little bit of niche cards in the set, but Machinedramon didn't see so much play. We need to see because I didn't saw much game testing from this. I would say right now is this good versus the tier 1 decks, then it can promote to tier 1.5, but since right now it is tier 2, Machinedramon have a lot of options, have Sakuyamon, has draw power. Black-red is a pretty nice deck color. You can go, you have a lot of support. You're gaining as well as an option card for your deck. It is called Viability Cannon, while you have a level 6 Digimon with Machine as threat in play. You might use this card before meeting Metallicdramon, so you don't care because it's red and black. Made Digivolve 3, one of your opponent's Digimon, then by placing one card with Cyborg as threat from your hand or trash under one of your level 6 Machine as threat. You can delete 6000 DP, so you're getting one more source, deleting something. It is good for 6, it's okay, but not so OP like you oh my one more combo thing. Yeah. That's the reason why I do is a tier 2. You need a lot of power, you give a lot of memory, and if you play like something like Bloomlordmon suspending this Digimon, of course you can prevent it, but they don't need to go in your sec, and Grande Soul clears out and shuffle back something as well. That is a huge problem. So, and stun Digimons versus Blue Flare, huge Digimon on board, Blue Flare getting advantage and swings in your security. You can play it with security bombs, but I don't think it's so good. Okay, Commandramon, finally a lot of support. We get an egg. While you have another Digimon with Digibrigade, you can reboot. POC. Reboot to have in the deck is pretty nice in the opponent's turn. Then we're getting a Commandramon. It makes Decoy as the main hands effect. Then we get a Sealsdramon that has jamming, and once per turn as inherited, you might play another Digimon with Deep Trick in the train. It gains Rush, what is pretty nice. You get Tankdramon, you get the star Darkdramon when you will Digivolve into this card by returning up to 5 cards with Duplicate in their threats from your trash to the top of your deck. Reduce the devolution cost by 1 for each return card. Your turn, once per turn, when you play another Digimon with Duplicate in its trash, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost less or equal to the Digimon you unsuspend this Digimon. You have a lot of power. You have a lot of power in the deck, and this deck is the only like control rush deck you have right now, and the Japan meta do things. I see this as a 1.5 tier 1, but you have problems versus like stun things versus blue flare, so it is less than blue flare. It is near tier 1, depends on what opponents you're having and what you play versus. That Harmonix topped in our adventure series and topped a little bit in America as well, getting a little bit room, but not are in the spotlight as say I'm pretty good. This deck has a lot of power to search, to do wombo combo, to destroy, to digivolve, have security +1, have blocker, they have all things, but they have one problem in common: to get rid of huge things. You can play Ultimate Flare, you can play Ultimate Fist to delete this deck. What is pretty good? I think Ultimate Flare is pretty nice in the next meta. You play 4 of that and maybe play Death Xmon and stuff like that. Then you are a little bit of a control, rush, destruction deck with a lot of search power and consistency. Then this deck will see a few other plays. I think Darknightmon is pretty good, but it's pretty hard to deal with the Death Xmon and the Bloomlordmon back to back to back, and with security control and stuff like that, they have a lot of problems as well. I would say it is for me near tier 1.5, but it is the best tier 2 deck in my opinion right now. Then we getting Metallicdramon. It is on play, Digivolve, one all of your opponent's Digimon, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 5 or less. If no Digimon is deleted by this effect, none of your opponent's unspelled Digimon can Digivolve until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you have a Digimon that locks your opponent's turn while you have a Tamer in play. This Digimon game blocker and reboot. You can combine this card with other things. You have the Hina Tamer and you have the Metallicdramon. You have a lot of things to play in the deck, and as this card says, you can Digivolve. It's pretty good, but you can play around this effect. This was makes it pretty bad. Play cost 5 or less. You can hardcast versus this, and you know this slams out on the board. Then you can provide a Digivolve, but if you don't can Digivolve in one turn, then you have a problem. But this deck seems not to like rush you and kills you, because the Volcanic one you can give 6+1 and stuff like that, but it's not so strong to kill you, and you can come back for it. That's what the problem the deck has, and Death Xmon is a huge threat. Option card that kills us are pretty intense as well. I would say it's a good tier 2 deck. You can play it. Maybe I'm wrong. I saw a lot of gameplay from this deck because it was like, I like Dragons a lot of, so was pretty nice to have, and I think it's pretty cool to play. As the next dragon deck I'm really happy about is Xhamon. Xhamon is a deck that can Digivolve as a Digivolution deck, but with a lot of power, hard playing stuff, and DNA Digivolve to his boss monster to do stuff. So DNA Digivolve on a level green, level 6 or blue, so you're hard smashing one of them and give your opponent 7 or 6 memories, and then you can DNA in your level 7 with 50,000 DP. When Digivolve, you might place one green or blue card with Dramon in its name from your hand under this Digimon. And it's the bottom Digivolution card. When DNA Digivolving, you might place one green or blue Digimon card from Dramon in its name and 12,000 DP or less from your hand without playing its memory cost. All turns once per turn when this Digimon becomes suspended. Unsuspended Digimon suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. That's what the card do. The shining cards are here. The Brigadramon, that is a level 6, 12,000 DP. All turns once per turn when this Digimon becomes suspended, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. All turns once per turn when one of your Digimon with Dramon or Xhamon in this name deletes an opponent Digimon in battle and survives to the top card of security stack. So you can make multiple checks and clear out boards. The problem is with Bloomlordmon, you get a lot of memory, your opponent, and you can clear out the stage, but the thing is you can't clear the whole board. So the problem versus Bloomlord you have again, because then they have buddies on board and you can kill them all. So you can kill the both huge stacks, your opponent have 10 memories, and they can go even further and say, okay, I go this turn again, and then kills you. What is a huge problem? This is a counter deck versus all Evo decks, and I will rate it as a 1.5 deck. I think it will see play because it deletes all other decks, maybe not Darknightmon, but other decks under it, because Evo decks is his feast, and is right now the best counter for Black Wargreymon in the meta, in the Japan meta, and because it's the Evo deck and it kills it. And that's the reason why it says it's a 1.5. We ignore Gaiamon because Gaiamon is the same as the Brigadramon. Galapmon sees Source play versus the Bloomlordmon meta. Yes, because Galapmon has a lot of destruction effect. You can play Crimson Plays in your deck. You can delete the highest one, and if they have a lot of things in the grave, you can stack the opponents. Galapmon getting a lot of lovely support in the BT12 meta, or 11 it was? One of them both. I think 11 it was. A lot of support. You can hybrid Digivolve on grave. Finally, but I think this deck is, I would say, was Bloomlordmon a pretty good choice, but overall I would rate it as a tier 2. If you have a lot of Bloomlordmon, test it out, go for my words. In Japan, it got pretty solid. One guy took it and one was for Bloomlordmon with this deck. Grandest OTK comes back. Yes, Grandest OTK comes back. We have BT9 decks in the EX03 and they popping off. You need to high roll, I'll not say that, but you can kill Bloomlordmon. If you kill them, they can do something, you kill them. This is pretty nice. You are pretty faster than your opponent and you kill them. I would say this deck is a 1.5er. It's near T1, but you need to high roll with this deck a lot. That's the reason why it's a little bit of back here and you have a little bit of problems. We're coming now to a new deck that introduced in EX03, and it is the Holy Dragons. Yes, Holy Dragons are a card that you smash on board. You can evolve them, and there's pretty nice effect. But on play, this card right down here, all of your opponent's Digimon gain minus security 1, so it's a Venusmon until the end of your opponent's turn. This Digimon checks 3-1 security card, that you know that if this card was played by trial of the 4 great ranks effect, all of your opponent's Digimon gain security minus 2. One deletion if you don't have trial of the 4 great ranks in the place one trial for the clan from your hand to the battle area. So I talk a lot about the 4 trials. What is the Senki? No problem, I got you. This is the card that plays deck around. This is an 8 cost option. It is main, draw 1. Main delay by trashing this card. Play 1 Digimon card with 4 great ranks in the threats from your hand without paying the memory, paying the cost. Then the Digimon plays by this effect can Digivolve to level 7 and the end of a turn. And it is so you play around an option card that has delay, play a huge dragon in your opponent's turn, but they give you a lot of memory to do, and the problem is, well, if you give Bloomlordmon a lot of memory, they punish you down, and then they play the huge dragon, and they like chilling one round, and playing something like Shivamon or stuff like that, you can play around, Grandeso, shuffle back this thing, they can do nothing. I'm not a huge fan of this deck, because I don't see that the plays are pretty strong, so I will categorize it at maybe next set. But I don't think they're getting support right now. This is a nice little bit of archetype, but I don't think. Okay, good. Hydramon. Bloomlordmon you all know, but Hydramon is the most broken thing I saw in a while. And thinking of, okay, Xros getting nerfed, but this deck this deck has a board, and you can counter it with decks that can delete boards and still are in the way, and I show you decks that can do it. But when Digivolving, you might suspend 1 Digimon. All turns, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, for each other suspended Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy in one of its traits you have in play, gain more memory. End of your turn, once per turn, if you have 2 or more suspended Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy in one of the threats, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of its owner deck. So you have a lot of problems dealing with this card because it is pretty broken. Bloomlordmon gaining giving them an on-deletion effect as well, that you get punished. So if they both lying on board with green that can skip level 5 digitation for free, spamming out a lot of things with Mimi and stuff like that. Somebody Santi, you Grandeso, you can put Shivamon on the Tokmon if we had Shoutmon in our meta, but we don't right now, so they don't need the Tokmon right now. This deck is a huge problem. This deck is pretty strong and pretty fast, and you need to be aware of that this deck is on the way, and Pumumon Hydramon is a hell of a card. It's a 3-cost rookie and you will hate this Digimon. When in effect suspend this Digimon, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So Hydramon shuffles 100% you down. And if you have 2 of them, they both trigger and both of you shuffle you down. And a lot of stuff of that. So they have a lot of ways to clear your board and can suspend your opponent's board. And if you delete something, you get punished. If you attack, you get punished. A lot of things. It is pretty hardcore to deal with it. A deck what Dan Wang is hyped about, I hope you watch my videos, is Impmon. Impmon is now a deck that you need to have a lot of things in your trash, because you're playing a trash deck. You're trashing a lot of cards like the Vmon, trash 1 3 Digimon or in preview, draw 2 cards. You're trashing a lot of and can play stuff like that again. By trashing you can play analog and other stuff like that because you have red and purple engines in there. Calling is a way to play this deck, and calling nerfed is a pretty hard way for the deck because you can get your Digimon deleters, get 2 combo cards in your hand and then prop the effects, and you can play Underworld's Call or stuff like that, but I think this is not the same, and I think calling is a little bit of a nerf for this deck as well. But this deck was not overall so strong, but I think the player will do something with the deck. I will rate the deck as a 1.5 because Imperial was all the time good, and let's see what the deck can do and what the deck is potential of. But I think this deck will see play because it had a lot of support cards in this deck, and purple and red are a pretty nice way to play it, and you gain a lot of stuff with this new set. Then we have Jasmine. Jasmine is an Evo deck that can destroy all decks on board, and building a huge stack with if you play the GX can be reduced and stuff like that. And for me, Jasmine, it is behind Blue Flare. You can be faster than Blue Flare, but you're lacking on power that you're having and a lot of stuff that's going on. What is the problem? But you have a huge thing, and you're like so countable for DevXmon, like Bloomlordmon. DevXmon is a pretty hell of a card. This card with so much spike that you need to buy it, and that is the one problem the deck have, that DevXmon counter it, like this one. Blue Flare not so much, if you can play around it, but it's pretty nice. You can play as well like Magna X in this deck. Yeah, Magna X. Armor Rush, like getting not so much support cards because you can play the Vmon for free, but it's red to draw 2 cards. You can, and have another Vmon to evolve over it. This is a thing you can do, but not much else you can play in your deck, what is a little bit of a problem for the deck, because the Flamedramon synergizes with purple and stuff like that, so you have not a lot of support. You can play the Vmon to draw 2, it's a little bit of the support, but I think it is a tier 2 deck. You can play what is pretty good versus other decks. They focused on attacking and you don't get OTK, but some decks have piercing and stuff like that to punish you, so this is a little bit hard of a way. And yeah, Metallicdramon. Metallicdramon, I think, is for me a pretty good deck. It has the problem to deal with the Jasmine, but it can deal with Blue Flare, that you be aware of it. So we need to be sure that we do the next one. So Metallicdramon is one of the best top 4 decks, because not much decks are going into the tier 1 section, and I think this is a good way to answer the Bloomlordmon, because you can allow to do shuffle back, bounce back, stuff like that. You can play shuffle back cards like Okaitis, and you can play as well DevXmon in your deck, but you're going straight forward. But you have a lot of potential to deal with boards and swing, and can roll higher than this one because you have a lot of more search power. So I think that will do the thing. But you have a problem with Jasmine, so they have an all blocker and stuff like that. You can bounce back the CL, but yeah, you have a lot of problems with Jasmine if they're having their combo when that you can go through. Minerva Loop, Calling is at 1, so you can abuse it. You play the focus spell, I know that, but we never didn't do much, and they didn't get much support. And I think they will do much. They need a combo, they need a lot of brain, and in huge rounds, in 8 rounds, one player that plays 8 rounds with Everyone with a good pace, brother, you get my thumbs up for you. But this deck don't see so much potential and not else so much support, sadly. I will not rate it and maybe go next set. I think this is pretty good, and I will rate it high up in tier 2 because it can do stuff. Mother D Reaper. But maybe next set you don't get support, you're not that quite good. I would do Blackwatermon both for that and do wait. Come on, brother. So, I was doing that. Blackwatermon is still a good deck. Don't mention that. It's a pretty good deck. But I think it will not clear out so much things in the meta right now than other things. Sakuyamon. Sakuyamon is made mode. The pure Sakuyamon deck. You can, if you go out with the deck, you go out. You have a lot of new option cards. You get not so much support from the. I think you get nothing on support in the EX03. But this is a fun deck to play if you want to, and it's funny to mention that you can play it. You can do it if you want to. You can have fun with the deck, but I think it is a tier 2 deck that can do not so much stuff. I need to sort this a little bit off. Yeah, you can play it if you want to have fun, but I think it's not so strong. A deck that is for me tier 1 worthy. I discussed a lot about it. It is Wargreymon X. Why is Wargreymon X on the top ranking? Okay, let me tell you about it. Did you read Wargreymon X? You can delete levels. 2 level 6 on board. Poof. You can play Crimson. Crimson is a counter with this deck. Omnimon, all the stuff. Cool boys. Consistency. Greymon, Artillery's mod. You have a lot of answers with the decks. Of course, you have a good matchup with Jasmine as well. They can get destructed if they have the GX combo. Then you have problems, like Metallicdramon as well, but they're on high top. But it's a huge stack, you can swing and OTK your opponent. Metal and Blue Flare have problems. If they play bounce back like Occults and stuff like that, maybe then, but you can play the BT1 version from Wargreymon Swing and put out all the security cards and then go even further. With the Wargreymon X and then Omni and Omni X combo to see your security and do stuff like that. I think this card will also, this deck is pretty good in the next meta, and it has a 1 spot for my opinion. A deck that my friend Kevin is aware of is Hydramon. I hope it pronounces right. So it is a deck like in BT1 with Metallicdramon. You spam out things from your sources and go even higher and higher and having more effects. It's a pretty fun deck to have in their mind, and I'm thinking this deck is pretty funny to see. And I will rate it as a tier 2. You can play this if you want to have fun. But I think this is not much competitive. It is blue. Blue is a good color, but I think it needs a lot of power and momentum and evolve. And you have a board, and if you have a board, you lacking on stuff, and other decks coming and smashing you. This is the problem. Venusmon is for me security control. Security control or Afani control. What else you can play is for me pretty good, because security control is a way to smash your opponent. I will put this right here, the Jasmine I will promote up as a tier 1. Security control deals with Evo decks, with Degrade, with Sword and other things on board. They can play Death Xmon, they can play Helm, Flame, Health, Scythe, a lot of things to deal with you. They're getting support. Yes, they're getting support. This is we don't have the Hydramon, sadly, but we have the Gilmon dual color getting. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 CP or less. If no Digimon is deleted by this fact, trash 2 cards from both players' deck, so you can get rid of something like that. But this is a little bit of support deck gets and helps you to deal around things. And we don't have sadly the Hydramon, but the red package get a lot of support. You can play it as a purple engine with Gazimon. That gaining no memory is a little bit of a problem for this deck. For the decks here, what I showed you, and I think the way to play it is pretty good. I will rate this top 4 decks, for my opinion, as one of the 4 decks. Metallica can be good, but the nerfing from the Shoutmon is a pretty hard rough for the Metallica. And I will do Darkdramon as the best 1.5 because I think Darkdramon can a lot of dual things. And if you have a lot of Evo decks, maybe Xamon comes in mind and can maybe make his wings to the 1.1 tier 1 meta. But I think right now this is what it should be. I played this a little bit, not so much looking as more as lists and talking with friends and stuff like that, but I think this will do for the first weeks, and then we need to see what is evolved, what the people play in your country and stuff like that. Be aware of that. But if you see your deck here on the top spots as the 1.5, you can do it as a tier 1. I'm not saying that this is not bad, but I say this can be maybe so and so. But this was the whole tier list. I hope you enjoyed and watched it till the end. Thank you very much, guys, for your support and for the whole career I have. I'm pretty happy to do this since tier BT1. Thank you guys for watching. As always, stay healthy. Have a nice week. Yosenki. Goodbye.